Hi everyone, this is Tamika and I am coming to you on a rainy day in which I have really been wanting to give something to my community, and what I can give is yoga. So I've been practicing online because I've been at home, and it's been really great to move my body, and I hope to be able to give the same to you. I am giving you a restorative and yin sequence. Restorative yoga and yin yoga are two different things, and I like to put them together. Restorative uses a lot of props, and yin uses a lot of long holds to get into the fascia of the body in order for you to become more flexible, and this flexibility translates to sustainable bodies and to sustainable and flexible mindset as well. So I really hope that you enjoy this practice. This is a sequence and not a live class. Essentially what I've done is I've put the sequence together in this video so that you can pause when you need, regroup, come back, and you can just learn the sequence in these postures. Also, I am practicing with very limited props, so that if you are a person who doesn't have a lot of props at home, then you can see how you can make this practice work for you, because yoga is for everybody and it's for every situation. So I hope you enjoy it. If you'd like to practice to music that is timed for this, I actually have a playlist that's called All Is Fair in Love and Yoga, and it has all of my favorite love songs on there, songs that I dedicated to my other half because I put this sequence together on our anniversary. Enjoy. It's important to know that you're going to need some accoutrement in this practice. So I've laid out here some ideas of what you can bring in terms of props. We added a couple of pillows later, and you can always use blankets. If you have any blocks, use them. And we also bring in some canisters from the kitchen later on this rainy day. We'll be starting in Pentacle, which is a phenomenal posture. It's essentially Shavasana, and you'll want to stay here for 3 minutes. Our next posture is Restorative Supine Twist with a bolster. Here we have stacked, under Lindy you'll see stacked two triple or quadruple folded blankets. For me, I have 2 blocks and a blanket underneath my knee, and then I'm coming into a supine twist where knees are over to one side. So in this particular posture, the left knee is crossing over the body, the right leg is extended long, and then the both shoulders are reaching toward the mat. And Lenny is looking over her other side so that she comes into a deeper twist, whereas my arm is bent and extended overhead so that I'm a little bit longer on the side. I really enjoy staying in this posture for 3 minutes per side. This is a heart and hips sequence, therefore we have to add a big heart opener, and we're actually going to put it pretty close to the beginning of the sequence, and that's camel. In yin postures, this is a yin posture, and in yin postures you'll notice that you'll go to places a little bit earlier in the sequence that you weren't expecting, because the element of time is going to allow you to open up. We're adding blocks I'm adding blocks underneath my hands because I'm coming into camel, into the full expression, whereas Lenny, who experiences low back problems, is coming into a modified variation. As we wait through or add the element of time through the 3 minutes, you'll notice being able to continue lifting, reaching your pelvis toward the front and opening the heart more. The hands will relax down as you unfurl into this posture. If you're low back tweaky, you'll want to stay where you are or modify the posture as you see Lenny doing on the left. But if you're feeling good and you're feeling like you're opening up after the 3 minutes, go ahead and come into twisting camel. We're not going to hold this twist that long. We're only going to be here for about 5 breaths and then switch sides. And of course, if you're not loving the big twist, you can always bring a block between your feet and come into a modified twist. I'm definitely aware that not everyone has yoga blocks, and so we've brought in some kitchen accoutrement to help us in this position. Dragon. You'll step into a low lunge on the right side. You step your right foot through, and then the left leg is extended back, the knee is all the way down. To protect your knee, you can put a blanket underneath the knee, or you can fold over your mat so that it's doubled over. There are very few people who love this posture. This is one of the least favorites of mine, but I always feel good afterwards. The key with yin postures is not to look for feeling good in the posture, rather feeling challenged in the posture. You'll be feeling really good once you release the posture. So the longer you can stay in it, the better. The goal here is 3 minutes for this side. Lenny is showing how once you have been in the posture for a minute or two, you can keep going deeper in it. Eventually you'll be able to bring your elbows down either to your props or all the way down to your mat. Twisting dragon. Bring your hand to the bent knee, to the inside of the bent leg, and with that hand you'll traction your thigh up and open while your back leg extends. You can bring your foot onto the heel, or to the side rather, if that feels comfortable. We're not here that long. We're only here for 1 minute. I like to put on music as I practice because postures like these get on my nerves, frankly, and I want to be thinking about something else. We're going to transition through tabletop so that we're bringing the spine to its neutral position, since dragon is a pretty big hip opener. Stay here for 3 to 5 breaths. From tabletop, come into modified eagle on the belly. You'll come lying onto your belly. You'll see that Lenny has a prop underneath her hips because she has low back issues. Then there are also pillows and blankets doubled under her elbows. She has them going underneath her chest as well because of her low back pain, but really you can bring the props just underneath your elbows for this posture. You'll bring the leg that you worked, which is your right leg, you'll bring that same arm underneath the left arm to come in the eagle arms. If this is difficult for you, you can just give yourself a hug in this posture. You're allowing the back to be worked as you are lifting the heart up. So the heart is reaching up, the back is actually coming into work, but the hips are relaxed down and the legs are relaxed down. So you're able to recover from that big hip opener we just did. You'll want to stay in this posture for 2 minutes. What we do on one side, we must do on the other side. So you'll bring your left leg through for dragon on the other side. You'll notice here I have blocks underneath my hands, and as I hold on to this posture and add the element of time, my groin will extend closer toward the mat. I'm using my breath to get there instead of pushing or forcing, and my hands are on the block so that I'm comfortable. Eventually I do usually come down to my forearms in this posture. And here I'm showing you twisting dragon on the other side. Again, I like to use a block underneath my hand here and reach my other hand to help open up the hip. It's important that if you have any kind of bionic hip stuff going on, that you don't traction too deeply. But as long as you are not having any of those issues, it feels really good to traction open the hips using the heel of the hand. Also, it's a good opportunity to let the neck release as you come into this posture. I really like to find the sweet spot to open up my neck as I come into the fullest expression of Twisting Dragon. Coming into Modified Eagle on the belly on the other side, bringing the left arm underneath the right arm and allowing the hips to have a break. Your pelvis sinks into the mat. Notice that my elbows are stacked on 2 blocks with a blanket over it. I really enjoy this posture because different from other postures like Sphinx or Seal, I really feel like everything below my middle back is completely relaxed, and I really need that hip release after that giant hip opener. Come into Child's Pose. We're only here for about a minute, so you don't necessarily have time to make this restorative Child's Pose, but both Lenny and I are huge fans of restorative Child's Pose, and as with all restorative postures, essentially you bring in props to make the posture feel really delicious. So you'll notice here that Lenny is demoing 2 pillows and a blanket that are all hugged into her and the hands around resting. From Child's Pose, find your left hand. Use your hand to thread the needle. So you're going underneath the right arm and extending all the way till you come into a twist. Your left shoulder, is coming to the mat. I like to leave my left hand facing up or palm up. Also for me, Child's Pose is not very comfortable like it is for other people. So I bring a block underneath my head and use my hand to lightly press into the mat so that I can get more extension. Of course, Lenny is on the left and she is far more flexible in her hips, so she doesn't require that same amount of work. We'll be here for 2 minutes on this side. I also like to bring my hand to the mat and begin twisting or leaning more into this twist, bringing my right shoulder back and using my right hand to help me come into this twist in a deeper way. The fullest expression of this twist can be realized by bringing the right arm completely up so that you are resting on the left shoulder. This is obviously optional. You can also bring your right hand to your low back or wrap it around if this does not feel comfortable. As you can see, Lenny has chosen to stay in the original position of the posture. Come into Child's Pose for the transition and to unwind from that big twist. And you'll notice that your hips may not come all the way down like Lenny is showing. For me, my hips stay up pretty high. Again, I don't really have that flexibility in my hips just yet. So I like to put a block under my head for this entire portion. And then of course we'll thread the needle on the other side and come into Child's Pose with the twist on the other side. Again, we'll move back into our Child's Pose so that we can release all of that joy. I really like to make it a restorative Child's Pose, so I have 2 blocks and a blanket underneath my torso, and you can't see my face because my hair is covering it, but I'm very happy in this restorative Child's Pose. It's important to bring the props as close to your groin as possible and to kind of bring your knees around the blocks so that you can just fold over and just melt onto the props. We're here for 5 to 10 breaths, and of course you can stay in it longer if you like. Praying Mantis. Bring your hips right over your knees. You'll likely want to transition through tabletop to get here. The blocks that you have, or canisters, whatever you're using, will come right, will be about 2 feet in front of you. Elbows will come to those blocks. You'll come into praying mantis. You can extend your hands out in front of you if you'd like, using the blocks, but I like to bend my hands up and bring my hands overhead, and to also begin working my thumbs toward the middle of the back. The heart is low, reaching toward the mat. There's a hollowing out of the back here. It's important to leave the hips right over the knees. I also want to point out that I do have my favorite socks on, because whenever we're at home, we oftentimes practice in socks. And this is a yin practice, so we're allowed to break some rules. You'll stay in this praying mantis for 3 minutes. It's not one of the favorite positions for a lot of people, but this posture is an incredible heart opener to get us ready to receive all that we have in store for us. Belly Shavasana. I like to scoot all of my stuff out of my way and to just scoot onto my belly in this posture. We'll be here for 2 minutes, so if you are looking to your right side, you'll want to look to one side for 1 minute, and then switch sides and rest the other ear down so that you don't overstretch one side of the neck. Allow the body to completely melt into the back. Take long, deep, slow breaths into the lowest part of the back. And as you exhale, allow your hips to melt further into the mat. I like to move my breath to the middle of my back after that, and then allow the middle of my back to relax down. And then the top of my back. And then on my exhale, allow my shoulders to melt into the mat. Half stirrup with bolster and a strap. I love this posture, and I hate this posture. You'll bring a bolster underneath your sacrum. If you don't have a bolster, you can see that we're using a pillow. You can use 3 blankets underneath the sacrum. It's not necessarily underneath the fullest part of the bum. You'll come into essentially it's half happy baby. Notice that Lenny is using a belt because we don't have our fancy schmancy yoga straps with us. So use a belt to bring it around your foot to come into this happy baby. You're coming into the posture on the right side. On the left side, the knee is gently bent. The leg is not completely extended yet. Because we're in this posture for 3 full minutes, we want for there to be a really nice extension. This is a yin posture on the right side. So it's important to leave the knee bent initially, and you will get a phenomenal release after. Let go of your strap and extend the right leg all the way out. You will come into a delicious psoas release when you do this. This amazing feeling only comes after you've been in that really deep hip opener for 3 minutes. So allow that relaxation to come in. You can even see on Lenny's face that she's really enjoying that psoas stretch. Also very important, bring the left foot all the way to the mat, and you'll bend your left knee up just a little bit more to completely release here. Come into half stirrup with bolster and strap on the left side. For some of you, you will be able to come into this posture in a really comfortable way and get the full extension that you see Lenny demonstrating on the left side of the screen. But for me, and for those of us who have very, very tight hips and very tight hamstrings, we will not come into this posture as easily, but it's fine. The benefits of the posture are the same, so just come into it, into whatever is your variation of the posture. Remember to leave the right leg gently bent so that you can bring the knee as close to the shoulder as possible. invite you to really open up in the psoas release on this left side, really enjoying this release. The higher up you are on your bolster, you'll notice that I am on an actual bolster, the more you're able to stretch your psoas, and it is awesome. Supine heart opener. Move your bolster so that it is underneath the middle of your back. So if you are a lady, it would be where your bra strap would go. You'll bring your feet together into bound angle legs or butterfly legs. The soles of the feet are together, and the bolster or blankets are underneath your middle back. Your bum is on the mat. I like to put pillows or blocks underneath my thighs because I have tight hips. Completely just open up yourself over your blocks and bolsters and props. I like to also bring a prop underneath my head so that you can completely open up for this giant heart opener. This is a phenomenal opportunity to be completely open to receive all of the love that is out there for you to receive, and then also to open your heart to send out love back into an often hurting world. So I invite you to just really open your heart in this posture, open your arms, and be receptive and giving all at the same time. We're here for 5 minutes. Come into final Shavasana. Turn your props to where they are long along the spine, and maybe even add more. I have one block going long along the spine and then one vertically. So essentially it's like a T, a capital T underneath my back, and then a blanket over that capital T. And just come into a space where you can really relax. You can also, of course, put some blankets underneath your back or your shoulders and more under your head so that you're at an incline. The key is to find comfort so that you can completely let go. For me, this posture is one that allows me to completely allow my practice to set in. And it's also an opportunity to bring healing to self. My palms are up because I am ready to receive all of the blessings that are in store for me. I've done my work in opening myself up, and so now it is time to let that work go and to allow whatever is in store for me to come. We find ourselves asking for blessings all the time, and I've found that it's kind of hard to sit and be still and allow those blessings to be granted. So restorative Shavasana is an opportunity to do just that. I invite you to stay in restorative Shavasana, or you can move your blocks and come to lying flat on the mat for traditional Shavasana for at least 5 minutes. Thank you for taking time to practice with me.